Yes, it's time for another video of trucking news, this time from March of 1960. This is the third in consecutive months that I've told you of news that happened, and let's just get right on to it. Strick Trailers, you ever heard of them? They were a division of Fruhoff. And in March 1960, they had plans to build a 310,000 square foot plant on 114 acres in Falls Township in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Jasper and Chicago Motor Express Incorporated of Jasper, Indiana, was purchased by David L. Zifrin and Associates. Jasper and Chicago had authority between Chicago and a 50-mile radius of Chicago to Louisville, Kentucky, and several numerous intermediate and off-route points, including Lafayette, Terre Haute, Indianapolis, Vincennes, Evansville, and others, and they had 16 terminals. Now, this is the first time I've mentioned off-route points. Let me explain what off-route points are. An off-route point is a point not on a standard interstate route, but the ICC has granted you permission to go off of that route to go to a specific plant or town or city that is specified in the authority that they've granted. Let me give you an example. Let's say you have authority from Charlotte, North Carolina to Greensboro, North Carolina, and that's your normal route. Let's say that you want to service a plant that is off of Interstate 85. Let's say it's in, Albemarle, which is off of Interstate 85. You go down 50 U.S. Highway 52 from Salisbury to get to Albemarle. It's about 15 miles. Let's say you have a plant that you want to service. You apply to the ICC to add Albemarle as an off-route point. If they grant it, you have permission to go service Albemarle, and it's not part of your normal route from Charlotte to Greensboro. That's about the best way to explain it. There were a lot of carriers that submitted applications to the ICC to handle such off-route points, especially truckload carriers that were carrying frozen foods and stuff like that. They did that a lot. And also during the war, when there were a lot of Army and Air Force bases off of a major highway, they were given permission during the war to service those bases. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Allied Van Lines began using its new $250,000 headquarters building in Evansville, Indiana. They moved from Chicago, where they had been for 13 years. The new offices were 15,000 square feet on 2.5 acres. So back in the 60s, people were leaving Chicago. New terminals. Garrett Freight Lines opened up a new terminal in Emeryville, California. Now, some of you may remember International Harvester had what they called Emeryville tractors. They were built in Emeryville, California as well. Strickland Transportation opened up a new terminal in New Orleans. Let's see here. Los Angeles Seattle Motor Express ordered 15 new Kenworth tractors, and they plan to use them on their doubles operation between the Bay Area of California and Vancouver, Canada. Here's an interesting one. You ever heard of Denver Chicago Trucking Company? Well, they had a subsidiary called Denver Chicago Trucking Company Incorporated of Kentucky. Now you may be saying, but they were headquartered in Denver, Colorado. Yes, they were. But they had bought Eck Miller Transfer of Owensboro, Kentucky, and they renamed that whole purchase of Eck Miller Transfer, renamed it Denver Chicago Trucking Company Incorporated of Kentucky. Yesterday, or in my last video, I told you of a finance application, number F6202, that had been submitted to the ICC from Consolidated Freightways. And they wanted to merge with Shippers Dispatch. And I mentioned that the Consolidated Freightways had gone to the ICC and asked for that whole application to be dismissed. Well, here's the reason. It seems that the agreement between Consolidated Freightways and Shippers Dispatch had expired on January 17th of 1960, and Shippers Dispatch was unwilling to extend the expiration date. So that's the reason why Consolidated Freightways went to the ICC and said, we want to dismiss this application. Just pretend we never submitted it. That's the reason. And the only reason I didn't mention that in my previous video was because that video was on news that was from February, and this happened a month later in March. So there you go. I'm bringing you up to speed. So that's it for this video. There's more news from March that I haven't tackled yet, and I'm going to in the next video, so that'll be part 2. Again, if you like this video, leave a comment. If you're not a subscriber, feel free to, because that's the only way that YouTube knows that you like this type of video, and they'll put out more of it. So thank you, and we'll see you in the next one.